Led for the last time by the colours of the now disbanded 2nd Battalion of the Royal Regiment of Fusiliers, veterans came from across the country to remember and celebrate their regiment's history.
These colours, once they've been handed over to the church this afternoon, will never be seen in public again. Never be seen again. So the parade you saw earlier on was all the ex-2nd Battalion people coming from all over the country to march behind their colours for the last time. In military terms, it's very significant.
The regiment has long links with Warwickshire, having recruited in the county since the 1700s. But the 2nd Battalion was disbanded in 2014 after army cutbacks.
The march ended with the annual regimental service. St Mary's Church was packed for hymns and prayers.
It's very sad. There are hundreds of people here today, as you can see, that served under those colours. For an awful lot of these men that have been to war and done things under those colours, it means an awful lot.
It's good that they're trying to save our country, of like being in the army, and it has to inspire people.
Very poignant day, very sad day for those of us who've served, and every man here is an ex-member of that battalion, and many comrades from other Fusilier battalions are here as well.
The service marks the final poignant moment in the battalion's history. Louisa Curry, BBC Midlands Today in Warwick.
has suffered a defeat in the House of Commons this afternoon after an adjournment debate on the disbandment of the 2nd Battalion, the Royal Regiment of Fusiliers. Although the government is not bound by the vote, it throws the regiment's future into the political limelight, with MPs calling for the decision to be reversed. 400 former Fusiliers also marched through Westminster in protest before attending the debate in Parliament. Charlotte Cross reports.
They arrived from all over the country by the busload, marked out by the distinctive red and white hackle of the Fusiliers, still worn with pride by these former soldiers. 400 of them descended on central London, determined to defend the future of their old regiment. The 2nd Battalion will be disbanded in 2014, a victim of defence cuts.
It's not a job, it's not a 9-to-5 job, it's a commitment. You swear allegiance to the Queen, and you firmly believe that, and you put your life on the line. And then to be treated as if, just to save a few shillings, we're going to cut a battalion or a regiment or any number of men is completely ridiculous.
To the beat of the corps of the drums of the Lancashire Association, they marched through Westminster. They hope better public awareness will put pressure on the government to reverse the decision. These former Fusiliers are angry because they say the decision to axe a Fusilier battalion is a political fix, designed to save 2 poorly recruited Scottish battalions ahead of a referendum vote. They say if the decision was made on recruitment and manning alone, then the Fusilier battalion would stay.
Hope is always something that we have, and I would really like this change to take place. This is going to be a long game. The battalion isn't going to be disbanded until 2014, so this is really the beginning of a campaign to try and make that decision reversed.
The regiment's former commanding officer was also marching. He was the first to be told the Fusiliers were losing a battalion.
Sickened, frankly, because no one can really look me in the eye in the army and tell me why this regiment is being reduced, and I can't turn round to the troops and explain to them.
Former Fusilier and now MP John Barron is leading the political campaign to save the battalion. He handed a petition into Downing Street containing thousands of signatures before leading a Commons debate.
I believe that there should not be any army cuts. No infantry battalions should go, Scottish or otherwise. But if there are to be cuts, then those cuts should be based on military logic, not political calculation.
The debate lasted more than 3 hours, with many MPs questioning the way defence cuts have been made.
Now things have changed. The leading arm is infantry. I quite understand that. As an ex-infantryman, of course, I applaud that. But the point is this. It is adaptability. Things have changed, the face of war has changed, and the very arm, which is now being chosen to lead our combat arms, is being cut to the bone, and cut in an illogical fashion.
The government wasn't backing down, though, saying difficult decisions had to be made.
After a great deal of consideration and analysis, and frankly, the British Army and the regiments concerned now are looking to get on with the very difficult task of implementing these decisions, which frankly have not been palatable.
They put it to the vote. 57 were against the battalion's disbandment, with only 3 for it, a majority of 54. A defeat for the government, but one that might have no immediate implications. For the protesters, it's a huge victory, but there's likely to be a long road of campaigning ahead. Charlotte Cross, Forces News, Westminster.
The sound of 40,000 people protesting against government cuts barely registered inside the Conservative Party conference. They've come to expect this kind of thing, but they didn't see these two coming.
Gentlemen, would you like to sit down?
Sir, you need to be looking at defence. This is denial, not defence.
Former Army General Ian Brazer, accompanied on the right by former Lancashire Fusilier Joe Eastwood from Duckenfield in Tameside, heckled the Defence Secretary Philip Hammond over planned cutbacks to the Royal Regiment of Fusiliers.
Fighting pirates.
But outside the hall, the stage was theirs.
Mr Hammond this morning called us in a national newspaper armchair generals. That's his derogatory term for people like me who've served 31 years and lost many, many friends along the way, defending you people. Money in the bank will not protect you. Neither will technology. You need foot soldiers to look after you. And we're getting rid of the best battalion in the best regiment in the British Army.
This is about my regiment, my comrades, the young men who are serving in the Fusiliers now, and I owe them a duty.
Earlier in the day, veterans marched through Manchester in protest. In May, they mourned the death of one of their own, Fusilier Lee Rigby from Middleton. But Philip Hammond says scaling back the Fusiliers will help the Army invest in new technology.
Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war, but there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second: surrender. Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson of history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement, and this is the specter our well-meaning liberal friends refuse to face, that their policy of accommodation is appeasement. And it gives no choice between peace and war, only between fight or surrender. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back and retreat, eventually we have to face the final demand, the ultimatum. And what then? When Nikita Khrushchev has told his people he knows what our answer will be. He has told them that we're retreating under the pressure of the Cold War, and someday, when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. He believes this because from our side he's heard voices pleading for peace at any price, or better red than death, or as one commentator put it, he'd rather live on his knees than die on his feet. And therein lies the road to war, because those voices don't speak for the rest of us. You and I know and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery. If nothing in life is worth dying for, when did this begin? Just in the face of this enemy? Or should Moses have told the children of Israel to live in slavery under the pharaohs? Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots at Concord Bridge have thrown down their guns and refused to fire the shot heard round the world? The martyrs of history were not fools, and our honored dead who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis didn't die in vain. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay, there is a point beyond which they must not advance. Winston Churchill said the destiny of man is not measured by material computations. When great forces are on the move in the world, we learn they're spirits, not animals. He said there's something going on in time and space and beyond time and space, which, whether we like it or not, spells duty. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.